And I've grown in. I was born and bred in Nigeria, so my environment is Nigeria. Until I got exposed to the internet and got to know that there is something wider and bigger. So the perception about nursing in Nigeria is that which is very flawed because of so many reasons, right? And I thought about, okay, we have a lot of nurses. We have a pool of nurses that are doing something different from what the perception of nursing is to the regular or to an average Nigerian, out there. When something bad happens, it is pushed and it is hyped and it is, it bombards everywhere. Everybody knows that, hey, this nurse did this or a nurse did that, whether a quack or a nurse or whatever. But it blows so fast. And there's this perception that, oh, nurses are this, nurses are just regulated to this and to that. I looked at what I was doing and I said, hey, there is more. Like the fact that you're a registered nurse makes you more. There is more by the reason of our education. There is more by the reason of the scope of our practice, and there is more by the reason of what you can do if you maximize your license as a nurse. So that was how I came about the title. The title was actually a the title of a webinar that I hosted in 2020 when I clocked 5 years in practice. It was a nurse and more, my 5 in 5. So I shared the 5 top things that I had learned in the first 5 years of my practice. And over time, I continued to talk about most of those things. And I decided, okay, fine, I'm going to get this into a book so that it can reach a wider range of people. If you cannot reach my post daily, or if I cannot post for up to 2 months because I'm busy, hey, you can get my book and you can, you get a piece of what it is to be a nurse and more. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much about that. Now, when I was trying to go through, some of the captions, or let me see, a synopsis that you wrote about the book. There is something you talk about, which is about your personal life experience.
Mm.
Why do you intend to share your personal life experience, considering the fact that somebody will say, oh, 7 years is not really much. We want somebody that has about a 20 years or 30 years experience, that person at least. So why do you what is the message you intend to pass from that?
Yeah, one of the things that I tell nurses is never to underestimate their personal experience, their personal journeys, right? We all have different journeys, we all have different experiences, and never to underestimate themselves because of titles. Now, I said this because of something that you mentioned, about years of experience. So, even if this is your first year of experience, there's something that makes you unique, that makes your practice different from my practice. There's something you have done, there's something you have learned that makes it different from me. There's somewhere you're coming from that makes your journey, that makes your practice different from mine, right? So never underestimate, never look down on yourself because of, hey, I want to get to 30 years in practice first before I can get an audience that will listen to me, or I want to get to this, that level before I can, talk to people based on my experience. So that's one of the things that I tell nurses. The reason why I brought my personal experience is because this is, I told you that the nurse more came from my 5 in 5, like the first 5 things I learned, and how I came into nursing is something that has buttered what I do now. It is very instrumental to who I am right now. I started going to schools to teach about menstrual hygiene after in the first year of my practice. And that was because when I was in secondary school, I had some personal experiences with menstrual hygiene. I did not have the privilege of having a sanitary pad. I was using cloths clothes that I have used, I would cut them in pieces and use them because there was no money. We were like, there was no money for sanitary pad, right? So after secondary school, I taught in a primary school and I loved the experience. It was a beautiful experience. So when I became a nurse, I felt like, okay, I want to go back to a school to teach children, to teach people. What do I teach? Because now I'm a nurse. So how can they benefit from my knowledge as a nurse? So I it struck me that I can actually bring, because I now understood better why we menstruate, what's menstruation, what's the best way to, cope with even the pain and all those things. And I told myself, okay, this is actually a strong message to bring to these children. I said, okay, throughout my secondary school, how many times did people come with these messages? This is actually what children this age need. So I went out there and I started teaching about menstrual hygiene. So gradually I brought that information online and I was sharing my experiences, sharing pictures of what we did and all those things. And that was how my background for, personal branding, using the media to preach, nursing and passion and everything, that was where it started. And it was very important for me to put it in that book because I believe that somebody will be inspired that their story is actually for a reason. Yeah. So that's the reason why I said, okay, fine, I'm going to put that there.
That is very, very passionate indeed. Quite passionate indeed, because you're able to use. What's a personal experience to say around you, and then I turn it to something. That can be beneficial to other people. That is very, very interesting, and this is one of the reasons why I try as much as possible to bring young people, young authors to to the platform, so that, because it might be kind of a source of inspiration to others too, to see how writers, how authors got their inspiration,
Yeah.
from where did they started, and what is their objective and the goals, what do they aim at, and how do they arrive at that. So we are still going to talk more about that too. Now let's go to this particular question now. What is the real source of your inspiration about this book?
All right, the real source of my inspiration about this. First of all, I want to say very thank you to God Almighty, who is the giver of knowledge, who is the giver of wisdom, who is the giver of visibility. I would say he is the real source. Like if you want to now put real source, because one of the things about what we do, and particularly what I do, is the inspiration to say, okay, this should be in a book, or this should be in a post, or this should be in a, making decisions like that. I feel like it's divine. It comes from God. Creativity comes from God, because at the end of the day, some people would have to